Hello friends. The Promised Neverland is a manga and anime series about a group of orphans living in an idyllic orphanage called Gracefield House, who discover that their lives are not what they seem. When the three oldest children, Emma, Norman, and Ray, learn the truth about their world, they must plot an escape from the demonic creatures that are actually raising them as food for their own consumption. The story follows their journey to uncover the secrets of their world, evade their pursuers, and ultimately find a way to create a better life for themselves and the other orphans. Along the way, they confront difficult moral questions and must make difficult choices to survive and thrive. The series is known for its complex plot, rich character development, and thought-provoking themes. Before starting the journey, please press the subscribe button and notification on to get the latest updates. Spoilers ahead. Emma, Norman, and Ray are a trio of bright orphans who live a happy and structured life with 35 other kids at the Gracefield house. Their caring and patient caretaker, Mom, Isabella, tends to their needs and oversees their intellectual growth by administering a series of tests that they all pass with perfect scores. After breakfast, the children enjoy playing tag on the vast green fields and lush forests that surround the house. During one of their games, Norman mysteriously disappears into the forest, but Emma finds him gazing at the border's low-level fence. This prompts a discussion about what the outside world might be like, and they all dream about the day they'll be adopted and leave Gracefield House. Unfortunately, one of their fellow orphans, Connie, is being adopted that very day, and Emma finds her beloved stuffed animal, Little Bunny, left behind. Emma and Norman attempt to return the doll to Connie, but their mission leads them to a horrific discovery. As they try to leave the bunny on the truck parked in the stone corridor, they overhear a group of demon-like monsters discussing the children's fate. Shocked and terrified, they realize that the Gracefield house is a human farm for the monsters to consume. Emma and Norman's world are shattered, and they must come to terms with the terrible truth of their existence. After their daring escape from the corridor, Emma and Norman return to the house to plan their next move. Norman suggests they should plan to escape, but Emma is hesitant to leave the other children behind. Meanwhile, Isabella discovers the stuffed toy Emma had left behind when they fled, causing Emma to barely conceal her terror upon seeing Mama for the first time since their discovery. Norman tells her they have to keep smiling like nothing is wrong, so Mama won't suspect them. During playtime, Emma and Norman agree that escaping through the forest is the safest option, but they soon encounter a massive seamless concrete wall. To make matters worse, they discover that Mama has a tracking device implanted in the children's bodies, making it easy for her to locate them at any time. Back at the house, Mama unexpectedly appears before Emma while she is grieving for Connie, asking her why she has been less cheerful lately. Ray ends up bailing them both out when he rings the dinner bell, allowing Emma and Norman to depart. However, Mama becomes suspicious and asks them directly if they were at the gate the previous night. They deny it, but Mama remains suspicious. Alone again, they both express their fear and desperation to escape. They devise a plan to stash table linen in a tree hollow near the wall, which they will use to make a rope when the time comes to escape. During their preparations, they encounter a new infant named Carol and an adult helper named Sister Krona, who is already planning to take Mama's place. Emma, Norman, and Ray suspect there is a traitor among them, when they realize that Sister Krona intends to ship them out earlier than their official date. Emma inspects Carol and finds a red bump behind her ear, confirming their suspicion of the tracking device. They focus on getting everyone out first, disguising their escape as a harmless game of tag. As they continue their escape practice, they share their secret with two other children, Don and Gilda. Although Norman chooses not to tell them the truth about the children being eaten, Gilda and Don agree that an escape attempt is their only option. They suspect Gilda or Don to be the traitor, and Norman sets traps for them by giving them different locations for their escape rope. That night, Emma pretends to sleep and watches as Gilda sneaks out of the bedroom. However, someone slips a piece of paper under Isabella's door, revealing the location of the rope under Norman's bed. Emma listens in from behind the door as Gilda visits Sister Krona's room. The tension mounts as evidence wavers between Gilda being the informant and not, but ultimately Gilda refuses to give up any information. Norman and Ray search for the two spots where the rope was hidden. Norman checks under the bed and says there is nothing there, to which Ray responds that this must mean Don is the traitor. Now convinced that Ray has been the traitor all along, Norman accuses him of being the one who knew about the hiding place. Ray does not deny this, but explains that it had to be done. Norman agrees to forgive Ray on the condition that he becomes his spy. Ray agrees, but only if Norman tricks Emma into thinking that they are taking everyone except Gilda and Don, as the little ones will be a burden during and after the escape. Later, Ray meets with Isabella and tells her that the others continue to use the game tag as practice, but focuses her attention on Sister Karina as the primary threat. He later admits to Emma that he is Mama's informant, which makes Gilda and Dawn feel left out of the private conversation. They start observing Mama more closely and Emma discovers a secret room. Dawn wants to get in, but Ray urges caution, and Norman agrees. Dawn does not know that Connie is dead, so he wants to escape and save her. He and Gilda enters Mama's room and find a locked door behind a sliding bookshelf. Dawn becomes obsessed with learning the truth and steals Mama's key, creating increasingly tense situations for himself and Gilda. Meanwhile, Norman, Gilda, and Ray agree that they will have to gather as much information as possible about the outside world to escape and survive. They discover many books in the library with bookplates bearing the name William Minerva and various words in Morse code. If they can figure out the order of those words, they may be able to glean some useful information that Bill is trying to secretly relay to them, giving the kids hope that there might be other humans resisting the demon hegemony. Dawn and Gilda explore Mama's secret chambers and find stuffed animals and toys that confirm Norman's claims about the adults being bad and make them suspect something even worse is going on. Norman and Ray scold Dawn and Gilda, but they know they haven't gotten the whole story. Norman tells them the truth, which is a lot to take in. Dawn and Gilda help steal certain materials that Ray mentions in his report to Mama detailing Norman's plot to kill her. Norman tells Emma that he's having Ray feed Mama false intel so she'll ultimately be misdirected or otherwise distracted when they make their escape. During his report, Ray learns that he will be the one being shipped out when the monthly shipment occurs in January. Only a week remains until the agreed-upon date of the escape, and the kids get careless in their open conspiring. Sister Karina suddenly appears and announces that she knows everything about what the five of them are plotting, but instead of being angry or threatening them, she suggests they join forces against Mama. Emma and Norman visit Karina and ask her a series of questions, but they realize she knows more than she's revealing. Later, Isabella gives Ray an instant camera as a reward for his assistance. Mama informs Karina that she has been appointed as mom for Plan 4 and has to leave immediately. When Karina presents her evidence to Grandma, the high-quality kids' escape plan is shrugged off because the kids are still under control. Grandma then asks the demons to kill Isabella. Suddenly, Isabella calls out Ray's treachery, terminates their arrangement, locks him in a room, and uses her tracking device to detect Norman and Emma. When Dawn and Gilda see Isabella leaving the house, but no sign of Ray, Dawn races into the house, busts down the door, frees Ray, and the three of them head to Norman and Emma's location as quickly as they can. Mama encounters Norman and Emma, and she sees through their fake smiles and drops the pretense that she has maintained for 10 years. She makes a heartfelt plea for them to stop resisting and accept their fate. When Emma and Norman reject her ultimatum, Mama snaps Norman's knee, but lovingly applies a splint and carries him back to the house. Later, Isabella informs Norman that his shipment date has been set, and Norman proposes an escape plan. Emma and Ray reject the plan and instead tell Norman to deactivate his tracker with the device Ray has just completed and hide out until Emma heals. Norman agrees to the plan, and the next morning, he successfully executes his escape. Upon reaching the top of the wall, he discovers a vast, deep cliff between the wall and the forest of land. Norman offers Emma and Ray a ray of hope by noting that the complex of farms form a hexagon, one side of which is the headquarters where there is a bridge across the cliff. Norman parts ways with Emma and the other orphans, and the scene of his goodbyes is emotional. Time passes, and Ray's shipment date arrives. Emma wakes up and finds him in the chapel, where they reveal that they've been acting around Mama and had prepared to escape. Ray shows Emma all the oil cans he had hidden over the past few years and proceeds to dump oil all over himself, as he plans to sacrifice himself to serve as a distraction. As the clock chimes midnight, Ray ignites a fire, and Emma hastily runs towards him. Soon after, Isabella sees Emma lying on the ground and realizes that Ray is inside the burning fire. Isabella attempts to rescue Ray while Emma and the other orphans make their escape. Isabella uses her radar to locate Emma but only picks up the signal of Emma's transmitter from her severed ear in the bathroom. Emma joins the other orphans in the forest, where Dawn enlightened Ray on how Gilda and Emma had been getting the older orphans into the escape plan. Ray recalls how Emma prevented him from burning himself and slapped him. The orphans later evacuate the house as Isabella watches it burn to the ground. Phil appears behind her and tugs her dress, surprising her. The kids begin their ascent up the wall, and Emma informs Ray of a change in her plans. She's leaving all the little ones behind, but is committed to coming back for them and everyone else before their shipping dates arrive. There's another wrinkle in the plan. which is kept secret from Mama, involving Don heaving a stone across a narrower portion of the cliff, allowing the orphans to cross safely. The group discovers that the majority of the population in the town is poor and miserable due to the nobility's control over the human meat supply. While residing in a temporary shelter, Emma and Ray contemplate their next move after the attack. Toma and one of the kids reveal their demon costumes and beg Emma to take them into town. Initially hesitant, Emma eventually agrees after Don decides to take them himself. An old demon, unable to see, comes across the group and mistakes them for demon children passing through. He prays for his kind and for the town to prosper again, then departs to the town slums. Meanwhile, two demons in the forest worry about their relatives' deteriorating condition and believe that the escaped Gracefield children may still be at large and in town. They plan to catch the children and feed them to their sick relatives to cure them. The group discusses a method of catching fish using a slingshot and sends Emma into town to retrieve seasoning. While there, Emma and Ray accidentally run into the two demons who begin to smell human meat on them. In a panic, they flee, and the demons give chase. Emma and Ray watch from the rooftops before being chased by another group of demons. After they lose their pursuers, they try to make their way back to the temple, only to be confronted by the original demons and then another group of demons. The group is held at sword point until a surprise appearance by Norman, who had been thought dead. Norman explains that he was taken to a lab called Lambda where he witnessed horrific experiments on children, was able to escape with the help of Minerva's supporter, and developed a drug to degenerate demons. Norman's plan is to exterminate all demons using the drug and build a human world free of fear. While everyone else supports his plan, Emma is hesitant and seeks a pacifist route. Norman becomes angry upon learning that some demons will not degenerate with the drug and recalls Mujica's exploits, a demon who can turn anyone into a non-human eating demon with her blood. Norman berates Emma for her way of thinking and vows to kill Mujica and Sanju. Emma convinces Norman to stop his plan in exchange for her finding Mujica and Sanju in a week. Despite his reluctance, Norman agrees and gives his former friends 5 days to complete their task. Emma, Ray, Don, and Gilda set off to find the demons while Norman continues with his plan. However, he experiences a coughing fit and recalls his experience in a special facility. He remembers that a man named Peter Ratchery welcomed him and wanted Norman to help him in his research. Norman was subjected to tests, which he passed, while other children underwent torture and mutations. The plan is still on, and Norman will kill everyone when they bring the two demons to him. Don and Gilda join the search for the demons and keep the others out of trouble while Norman's plan is in progress.